See, right? That's new to Zoom. They had to start pushing that out a week or two ago. But today's going to be jam-packed. I'm going to give you a lot of information. Don't be overwhelmed. Today is really just kind of like a landscape to kind of see what everything looks like, but we're going to jump right into things just because I want to make sure I cover everything for you. But be prepared every day. Come back with questions about what you learned the day before. Come in with your cameras on, your mics on. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Sometimes I will have Market Center tech trainers covering chat for me. So if you throw questions into chat, we'll get answered in there as well. And then I'll always go open mic at the end in case I miss something. I try to limit, I'll answer questions in the now if I can, but if it's off target, I may ask you guys to table that to the end, just so I can do my best to make sure I get everything covered in each day's event. Does that sound good for everybody?
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Hold on a second. All right. And I struggle with the problem with technology in itself is I have multiple screens and sometimes I can't always get to show what I want to show. There we go. So you should all be seeing my PowerPoint presentation. Is that up for everybody? Great.
Yes.
All right. So as mentioned, today is orientation. And I call tech orientation, understand the journey and the big why. And so when I kicked off, I congratulated you all for being business owners, right? And that really is no joke to me. You are all business owners. So like everything you do is a conscious effort and a decision, right, to how you're going to be productive and proactive in building this world of yours. Understanding that KW, even though we're the largest real estate company in the world, we are building this platform called Command. It's been a journey of over the last 4 years, but there's a very specific reason that Gary's investing all of this money into having a platform that's owned by your company, right? There are other things we could go in and buy them off the shelf, and you'll hear about different CRMs or production platforms that you could be utilizing. There's a reason why KW is building their own. And the biggest reason is this. Most agents don't understand the history of what has happened or understand the attack that our industry is under, okay? Anybody heard of a company called Zillow? Right? Most people don't realize it. And this has been years in the making, but Zillow is now a brokerage. Okay. So most people only think of them as a search portal, right? It's something that NAR has given away over the years to Zillow as a detriment to the realtors. It actually is a detriment to the realtors. And now, which is what a lot of us expected to happen, has happened. Zillow is now a broker. So now they're also the competition. So we have given them years and years and years of data, listings and sales and transactions and contact information. And now they're your competition. There's also a lot of disruption, you'll hear that term, coming into the industry through venture capital, right? They want to change how we do business. They actually, for all intents and purposes, want to put a lot of us out of business. They want to turn us into door openers. They want to take your commissions. KWRI, Gary Keller, most importantly, is fighting the fight to represent you as best he can. Right? He's spending $1 billion on technology and development for you and your consumers. People don't understand it. He could very easily be on the beach with Jimmy Buffett drinking pina coladas, right, down in Key West, but he is spending a tremendous amount of equity and capital to represent you, the associates that work with us, and to protect you. And what I mean by this, so understanding of that history. So KWRI has always had technological partners in the past. About 2010, we rolled out a platform called eEdge. It was our first database platform that we offered available for free to our associates. It was built and designed and owned by a company called Market Leader. A couple years later, Market Leader was purchased by a company called Zillow. You might have heard of that, okay? So now all of our agents' data was available to Zillow. A couple years after that, we used a platform called .loop. It's our digital library, e-signatures, contract writing platform where we put a lot of contract information in there. Zillow purchased them too. Okay, those are two platforms that the largest company in the world, KW, from a real estate platform, was in business with. We were under attack. Not just the industry, but us as an organization, right? Therefore, you were under attack. So Gary made a very conscious decision and a very challenging decision to build our own platforms. So that's why we have Command, and it's not a finished product, right? It's continuously evolving and developing, and to the point that we actually improve it daily, weekly, and monthly with all kinds of new things that are happening. So that's why when we say that this is a platform built for agents by agents, because we literally build it for you guys with feedback and valuable input from all the agents and teams and leaders that are in the field. So we hear you, we listen. When there's something that you want, or something that you want changed, or something you want improved or added on, they look at that. You're going to hear things about ideas. Ideas.kw.com is a website where you can go and you can make recommendations or improvements to the platform. And I can tell you that the KWR leadership team, Gary, Carl, Matt, Mark, Jason, David, they look at those every Monday to see what the agents are talking about and say, hey, can we do that? Does it make sense to do that? Or is that one already on our pipeline? They're listening to you. So don't ever make the assumption. You're going to hear me say that word a lot. You all know what happens when you assume, right? My father's favorite, you make an ass out of you and me, right? Don't ever assume that somebody else has said it or should recommended it. And if they have, you can vote it up, right? We're crowdsourcing. So there's value in that. So anyways, that's why we are where we are. That's why we have Command. That's why we have the type of training that we have, right? That's why it's important for us to coach you how to utilize the platform and stay in front of your consumers and protect you and your consumers. I just don't think enough people understand that. So that's why I take the first couple of 10 minutes of every time I teach this class to kind of talk to that. I was very fortunate early on to be in a room with Gary and at the time our former president Josh and ask questions, and coming out of that environment and hearing Gary talk about technology, I can tell you this. Gary's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. It's essentially like talking to Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. Here's a guy who built his fortune in real estate, but he is so versed in the technology component of what we're doing, he might as well be running Apple. That's how important this is to him. And I left that meeting incredibly impassioned about and believing what they're doing for us. And I try to take that, even though I'm not Gary, but I hope you hear in my voice about how passionate I'm about the journey that we're on and why this is so important for you to not just kind of making things easier is not always the best thing for you. And you will find at times giving away passwords or access to things has a detrimental effect over time. So that's this. Any questions around that? Any questions around the journey or why we're doing what we've done? All right. Then with that, we're going to jump in. I'm going to give you some websites. I'm going to give you some things that you're probably going to want to write down and some information. So what you see here on the board is our Market Center Tech Trainers, right? So I am the regional tech trainer. Okay? I have 18 Market Center Tech Trainers that I work with throughout the region. Every market center, there are 28 market centers in all of Virginia and West Virginia, has, well, or should have, not all of them, we're filling in some holes, have a Market Center Tech Trainer. So your Market Center Tech Trainer, you should see on your screen here, along with your Market Center number, if you don't know what that is. It's not your brokerage number, it's a KWRI number, right? You see that they actually are in order of the market centers that are created by KW, right? Mark Manassas was the 29th market center of all KW market centers when they were rolled out, right? We're now in over 1,100. Some have opened and closed, right? They don't recycle those numbers, but that's what you're seeing on the board here. So depending on what market center you're in, market center number, you're going to see a name associated with it. That's your Market Center Tech Trainer, right? They are your asset. They are your technological resource for your market center. So they will be, after you go through all this training with us, some of them may train some of these classes over the next 2 weeks, but they're there to help you. They're there for your questions. They're there for support. They will do trainings in your market center. They will coach you one-on-one. They will help you build your businesses. They'll probably work with your productivity coaches in your market centers. They are somebody that you will get to know or should get to know over time. So just make a note of that, okay? All right, we're going to talk a couple of things here over the next couple of minutes. We're going to talk about email. We're going to talk about KW Connect. We're going to talk about agent.kw.com, and we're going to talk about answers.kw.com. Okay, so you all have a KW email. Our KW email service is run through Gmail. So does everybody know how to use Gmail at this point? Okay, I'm going to make sure you know how to get your KW email, but I'm not going to train you how to use Gmail. If you got concerns that you haven't used that before, talk to your Market Center Tech Trainer. But we're going to show you where your email is so you know it and how you log in. KW Connect is a platform you're going to learn about. For all intents and purposes, it's YouTube, but just for KW. It's not a YouTube channel. It's KW Connect is our own proprietary platform, but we put a lot of trainings on there. Okay, so it's kwconnect.com. Agent.kw.com is your command login. So when you go to get in the command, you're going to go to agent.kw.com. You should all have a login and ID, user ID and password at this point. If you don't, check in with your Market Center Tech Trainer, and that'll get you into command. Now, your user ID and password will get you access into all things command. You're going to learn these different platforms, Answers, right? Agent, KW Connect, command, Kelly. The user ID and password is the same for all those. The difference will be in Gmail. It's a different password. It's your email and password. People make them the same. We'll talk about that in a minute. Answers.kw.com, for all intents and purposes, is Google for all things KW technology. So these sites should all be bookmarked. And if you're anything like me, I bookmark them on my desktop. So every day when I log in, they're the ones that open up on my home screen. If you don't know how to bookmark things, that's a Google Chrome process. Market Center Tech Trainer can help you with that too. Right? They're very valuable. I mentioned Chrome. Who's an Apple user on here? Anybody? All right, I try not to judge. All right, I won't hold that against you. But if you're using Apple, you're still going to want to use Chrome and not Safari. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure you have Chrome downloaded on your desktop. And I don't want you to utilize Safari in your business because Apple doesn't play nice with a lot of business components, and Chrome just works better. So if you're ever having challenges for things, the first two questions you'll get asked, are you using Apple? Are you using Chrome? So just a little heads up for you guys. All right, we're going to talk about technology support and self-advocacy. I mentioned answers.kw.com. It's a platform where you can Google and look up information. And it's also a place where if something's broken and not working, you can submit a ticket to KWRI. Your market, and whenever you have an issue, I want you to get in the habit of doing this. I'm going to ask you this now because I've said it a number of times. If you have an issue, who do you think I'm going to tell you to talk to?
Your tech trainer?
Your Market Center Tech Trainer. There you go.
No one was saying it, so.
Well, when you find me, I will ask a question and I'll sit there until somebody answers. I'm stubborn like a mule like that. So please don't be shy. All right. Yes, your Market Center Tech Trainer, because they're going to help you understand a couple of things. Now you're new and we understand that. So most inquiries fall into three categories, right? Right, Ted? Three categories typically when there's it's broken issue. It's either training related. You may not completely understand what you're trying to do yet. That's all right. It might be a feature request. You're looking for the platform to do something that it doesn't do, okay? Or third, it's actually broken and not functioning as intended. Your Market Center Tech Trainer will help you bring clarity around any challenges you might be having, point you towards the right training, which I would encourage you to look things up on answers.kw.com first, because there's probably an article or a video around what you might be doing. Two, they will let you know, hey, it doesn't do what you're trying to do. So go to ideas.kw.com and vote that up. Or three, yes, what you're asking it to do is actually not functioning at the moment. We're aware of it, or we're not aware of it, okay? Because that happens too. And they're still going to encourage you to submit a ticket for you to stay informed, because not every time when there's an issue does it affect everybody equally or the same, right? Depending on what platforms you're working on or what levels you're working inside the platform. And when you submit a ticket, it's tracking for them, because when we scratch and it itches, the more people I can have scratching, the more of a priority it is to fix it on the back end, right? We don't assume that it's being taken care of. And you'll be notified when there's improvements or changes or fixes are rolled out. And it's always good to be informed. So that's answers.kw.com. We're going to cover command help when I go live here in a couple of minutes. I'm going to walk you through KW Connect. A lot of you at this point may have had a walkthrough, a tutorial, or something with Scott Leroy. Scott Leroy is just a third-party organization that a lot of our offices use to set up your platforms and do a lot of one-off things. Okay, you may have had somebody do a questionnaire for you to gather headshots, bios. He does a lot of the setup for us, right? It's helpful. But he also has great training on his websites. So you could actually go to scottleroymarketing.com. When you go to log in, it's just your market center number. So remember on that home screen, I showed you your market center numbers, right? I'll just bring that back up again. Right, so those market center numbers is basically your login or your password to get access on Scott Leroy Marketing. So make sure you're comfortable with what that is. All right. Ted is going to put into the chat a link to our regional YouTube channel and our regional Facebook page. I'm going to ask you to follow and subscribe to each of those because we post information out there and it's always a great resource for you to go ask questions, especially on the Facebook group. We put live information, updated information each day. We answer questions that you may have if you can't get a hold of somebody in your market center, and we'll always point you in the right direction. YouTube, as I mentioned earlier, these classes are recorded and posted there, so you subscribe. Anytime we post a new training, you'll get an update, say, hey, there's something new you might want to take a look at. So those are available to you as well. I mentioned support. So that's kind of just, outlining the agent talks to the Market Center Tech Trainer. Market Center Tech Trainer helps you determine a course of action or where to get needed information. If it needs to be escalated, your Market Center Tech Trainers will bring it to my attention, and I can escalate it up the ladder to make it more of a priority. Now, I understand anytime there's an issue with the platform, it's a priority to you, and I am sympathetic to that, but I have to make informed decisions about what's a priority and what varied levels of challenges might actually be going on in the back end. So we do our best to try to differentiate between that, but always talk to your trainers and they'll point you in the right direction. All right, so I'm going to log in and I'm going to share with you my platform. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are part of our journey. Everybody still see my screen, see that I just brought up a new platform? Awesome. mykw.kw.com is our old platform, but there's still a couple of things that you're going to make sure that are complete on here, just from a system flow. You won't go here a whole lot. First, I want to show you underneath technology. Oh, too fast. Hover over technology. Don't click on technology because that'll redirect you. You're going to see KW email. Remember that KW email is Gmail. Okay. When you go in here, you can either sign up or manage. Scott Leroy typically sets these up for you. So you may just go right to manage. And your email should typically be your first name and last name at kw.com, or maybe they let you choose some with first initial. That's all well and good. David Donaldson at kw.com is Gmail. Okay. Now you actually are probably familiar with a couple of things in your world when it comes to email, and this is important. I'm going to say a couple of things, and I don't want you to take it personally. Okay. Do any of you still have AOL? They're out there. I know that they are. Kate's laughing. She's like, I don't want to raise my hand, right? AOL. Who uses Gmail on a regular basis? World's best realtor at gmail.com, right? Is that you guys? Number one realtor in Fairfax at gmail.com? No? Okay. Yes, there are free platforms. Gmail is one. Livewire, Yahoo, @me, AOL, Netgear. I don't even know what's out there anymore. Here's a plea from me to you. You're business owners, men and women business owners, right? Treat your business with the respect it deserves, and utilizing an @Gmail free email service is not professional. Okay. So at a minimum, use your KW provided email while you're new. Okay. David Donaldson at kw.com. It tells the world you work with KW. @Gmail that just tells me that you're using a free email service and you're trying to make it look nice. Please don't do that. Okay. Protect yourself, protect your image. Now, when you grow your businesses and you start building a business entity, okay, two things here. The ability to brand yourself as anything other than yourself is a legal quagmire. Okay, you are not allowed to be anybody other than yourself unless you're licensed to do so. What does that mean? Okay, I cannot be Donaldson Home Group because I wake up tomorrow and think that that looks cool and that's what I want to be. You can build a team, you can build a business. The question is, are you? Right? Most agents are themselves. You can be David Donaldson or David Donaldson Realtor. That's all you're allowed to market yourself as, unless you have actually have an LLC, Donaldson Home Group LLC. That LLC is approved by your broker in your market center. That LLC is sent to Richmond and added to your license as a DBA, doing business as that business entity. So you would have your name and your business license. Then you can start marketing yourself as DHG or Donaldson Home Group or whatever that looks like. And the reason there's legalities around that is that you're not allowed to represent yourself as a brokerage when you belong to a brokerage. Donaldson Realty is not acceptable. Does that kind of make sense to you guys? I point that out because I am impassioned by how you build your business and represent yourself the right way. That's why I start with talking about Gmail and how you escalate up higher. And also, I will tell you that I'm not a broker, but I will give you the best practices and information. And when it comes to marketing yourself or anything other than who you are, I'm always going to tell you, and I'm recording, so this is backing me up if I ever need to, that I will always tell you to go talk to your broker for clarification and any confusion. Because unfortunately, I come across this all the time. I get agents email me that they've already done things, they've already spent money, and it's wrong. And I don't want that to happen to you. So always ask the questions. Go to your broker and get clarification about building a team or becoming a business entity other than just yourself. Is that cool?
Yeah, just a very quick question.
Sure.
Are we? You're saying, are we allowed to say a realtor on our social media?
Yes.
Okay.
You are, by belonging to the board and member of NAR. I am David Donaldson Realtor. I'm allowed to use the trademarked slogan Realtor.
Okay, on Facebook and Instagram.
Because that's who you are. Like your business page should be David Donaldson Realtor.
No, I'm talking about our personal social media, like personal Facebook page and personal Instagram page.
Yeah, you can have you are the word realtor you're allowed to use.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So anyway, so that's email. I talk a little bit more about it than I should, but I believe in it. And I think you guys need clarification around it. So setting up your email and your password all happens on this page. All right. Let me come back to the home page. That's the most important thing on KW or mykw.com. Let me go to my home page real quick. All right. Now, on the home screen, there's a profile button. If you click on that, it's a series of refresh. Gotta make sure I'm in the right market center. I'm in multiples. Here we go. You will want to make sure that there's basically just a series. I'm going too fast. Anyways, on that page, there's a whole bunch of information about you. Name, contact information, your market center, your business. It's a profile. And that publishes across to a couple of things. You're just going to want to take the time to fill that out completely. So that is profile right here on mykw.com. You're going to find out, because we do utilize a couple of different platforms right now, you're going to have profiles on multiple pages that don't all talk to each other. So I will highlight those for you and say, take your time and complete them just so that they're done. Most of this will probably be complete, but there may be a couple other things you can add. And one of those things is going to be a bio. So another thing we will talk a lot about are biographies. If you're new to the business, it can be a little confusing. Like, what do I say? Start with your resume. What does your resume say? And turn that into a couple paragraphs about yourself. Now, you may not have a production history, and that's okay too. Right? Here's the great thing in real estate. Every successful realtor that you may have met or know has started at the exact same spot that you have. And that's with the exact same number of transactions. Anybody know what that number is? No. Tracy, you're banging your head up and down. So what is that? What is the answer?
0.
0, right? You all sold 0 to start with. And so the growth potential is infinite from there. Don't hide from that. Don't be paralyzed by that. Talk about you. Where did you come from? Where did you go to school? What are your hobbies? What is your background? What are you involved with? Right? People are looking for a reason to connect with you in those bios. Don't worry about production numbers. They will come. Right? If you build your business, they will come. That's okay. Right? The general public doesn't know what you don't know. Right? They are looking for a reason to work with you. And I would say when you get in front of somebody, over 90% of the people that you sit down in front of will choose you because you were first. Don't give them a reason to go somewhere else. So don't be scared. Right? Don't be scared that they are going to see something in you that you're worried about them seeing. And that number is usually 0 productions. Don't worry about that. Does that sound good? You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Get over that. That's, that's that fear mindset. We talk a lot about mindset. Don't let that creep into your world. Self-doubt is a dank, dark thing. Avoid it at all costs. All right, so that is mykw.kw.com. A couple of things you could check out on here. You'll see white pages. That's where you can look up other agents. You're going to see a calendar for your market center underneath intranet. Right, your market center.
David, sorry, a quick question. Going back to the profile, do we, for the referrals, let's say if we work in customer service for a long time and not necessarily in real estate, should we use referrals related to our customer service to put in that or no?
I'm sorry, not when you're talking about referrals, you're talking about real estate referrals?
Yeah, so like in the profile here, there is this that you're sharing the screen that say my referrals, right? That will go under our profile. It was right below your picture on the other.
On the home screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This
So
is
when
just.
we are setting up our profile, we are new, so we don't have any referrals
Right.
real estate related. But let's say in my situation, I'm working with customer service for a long time in sales. Is it productive to add referrals related to our customer service and not real estate related or no?
No, everything in your business and your referrals, don't confuse referral network like your business relationships with your consumer database. We're going to delve in a little bit deeper each day about building out your consumers and your contacts and actually our referral platform for business, agent to agent referral business. But you will establish relationships inside of your world, painters, roofers, contractors, right? That's okay too.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to minimize these. I'm going to now to jump into Connect. I'm going to bring up my Connect screen here. So kwconnect.com, minimize some of these other things. And I'm going to highlight a couple of important things on inside of Connect. Remember, I talked about Connect being the YouTube essentially for just KW. There's a lot more in here than just videos. There's documents and files and things in here too. But knowing where to go and what's the most important places to start, because you can get lost. And I don't want you to get lost. Your first job, first and foremost, is lead generation, right? You got to build your businesses. So there's some system things that we'll cover over the next 2 weeks, but focus on lead gen. Talk to your PC coaches and your market center tech trainers about getting quickly and as rapidly into business as you can. We'll put you on the right path. So inside of Connect, so this is my home screen for Connect. There's a couple of things I want to highlight for you. One, there's a calendar. So you may see training, events, things that are going on inside your region or your market center. Okay, that's under calendar. Next is training. Okay, there's a Connect Live. Connect Live is really important. It's similar to what I'm doing with you guys each day at 10 o'clock, but it's more on a national level, and it's not always all about demand. Okay, so a couple of times each day, twice a day, there are different classes, okay, that they train that are anywhere between a half hour, and you'll see there are all kinds of different topics in here, right? Tomorrow they're going through context. Well, we happen to be talking about context too, but they'll be doing a Q&A class at 1 o'clock. You'll see these are Central Time. We're Eastern Time, so we're always an hour ahead. So don't get confused. KW time is always Central Time. What I recommend that you do is that sometime Friday, Saturday, Sunday, prior to the upcoming week, see what trainings are going on, both in your market center at the region and from KWRI that you might be interested in attending. These are all on Zoom, right? And schedule that in your calendar. If you found it important enough to attend it and then you don't attend it because business happens, they're live on demand. So usually within 48 to 96 hours, these classes or whatever was going on in KW are recorded and posted so you can go back and rewatch them. So knowing that you can go live and knowing that you can go back and watch them is important for you. So that's Connect Live, KWRI training. Now, underneath resources, there's a Welcome New Associates tab. Now, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to cover a lot of the things that are here, but knowing that you can come here and there are quick embedded links to access things, so you don't have to worry about, oh gosh, what did David say? I know he said that. You can always come back and take a look at these different things. So getting plugged in, getting started, boost production, group coaching, Connect Live. Again, getting familiar where things are for you and where you can get information at your fingertips is important. So a lot of quick links, a lot of embedded material that you should take a look at. That's underneath your Welcome New Associates here. Okay. Under technology, I'm going to show you Command Your Business. So the classes that I do or the classes that KWRI does are usually a little bit longer format. Each day we're going to cover over one topic, and that's going to be over an hour. In that hour, we can cover a lot of information. Here in Command Your Business, okay, you're going to see those topics, those applets, but then broken down even more smaller bite size, right? Build your database. We're going to talk about contacts and building your database tomorrow, but here are a series of less than 10-minute videos of how to do certain elements that I'm going to show you tomorrow, but you may get home at the end of the day, pop open a bottle of wine and refocus your mindset about working inside your business. All right, David showed me this today. Now let me go back and digest it even smaller bite size. You can do that. And you can work your way through this. Right? Some people learn by listening. So these classes are great for that. Some people need to, okay, I got to tune everybody else out, pour a nice big glass of wine and go through this a little bit at a time. That's okay too. KW is one of the best training companies in the world, not just real estate, in the world. We're recognized by Forbes for training, right? So you guys have a lot of vehicles to learn things, in person, online, video, fact pages, tutorials, you name it, we have it available to you. So I want to show you where all those resources are. So this is another one of those. Our live classes, Command live classes, and recorded videos and Command Your Business. All right. So that was underneath technology. Okay, Command Your Business. Now, there's all kinds of links in here. Go check different things out. Don't get lost. Don't be busy being busy because your number one job is what? That was a question.
Complete your database.
Lead generation.
Lead generation. Yes.
Which is working your database, right? Absolutely. Now, all the way to the right is another profile. Now, this profile is a little different. Okay, we're going to talk about two profiles that each day we'll talk about this as depending on what applet we're working on. There's an agent to agent profile, which is what this is. This is for referral business. And by referral business, I mean agent to agent inside of KW. Okay, remember this, with KW, you're a member of the largest real estate company in the world. Worldwide, that is too, right? And because of that, we are the largest referral company in the world. I can send referrals to anywhere that there's an agent or a market center. Right? My last 3 commission checks were referral checks. I sent an agent. I sent a referral to Naples, Florida. I sent a referral to Huntsville, Alabama. And believe it or not, I referred business here locally out to Gainesville because I didn't feel like driving out there. Right? So understand where you can do business, and we'll take a more detailed look in referrals, which is our last class next Thursday. But there's a referral profile, agent to agent, and there's a marketing profile, which is agent to consumer. We will drill deeply into each of those when we get into those applets, but I want you to start thinking about that. Sound good?
Yes.
All right, so that is KW Connect. Okay, next what I'm going to show you is actually going into command. Okay. So we covered my KW, we covered connect. Now we're going to jump into command. Let me just log into my command real quick for you. Bring that up and give you a quick tour of command. Now, some of you, depending on when you join, may have seen some of this already, but I'm going to start at the very beginning because some people have not. Okay. When you log into command, you're going to land on what your dashboard is. Okay. That's your home screen. Now you see I clicked on the red KW up here, so these applets bounce out on the left-hand side. Now you guys all have one of these. Does everybody have one of these? It's called a cell phone. You may have heard of it, right? On your cell phone, you have these extra little devices built into it. I think they're called apps. You guys heard of those? Apps, use those, right? Yes, I'm snarky, I get it. So these inside of command are applets. Cute, right? There are apps, there are business apps that are built inside of command. So that's what we're going to train you on each of the next couple of days. So you've got home, which is our landing page where you are now. Contacts, that's your database, your CRM, right? Everybody that you know that you're going to communicate with. And it might be vendors, it might be consumers, it might be friends and family all around the world. That's okay. They're all going to live in your database because you're going to communicate and track that communication with them. That all takes place under contacts. Tasks. What do I need to do on any particular day, either to talk to somebody, email somebody, text somebody, or advance or do things in my business because I'm under contract with somebody? Those are tasks. What do I need to do? Smart plans. Some of it is set it and forget it. It's customization. How do we automatically, right, digitally set it and forget it in some of the communication that takes place? Now, I take that very personally because I'm careful of generic communication, okay? But you can have specific communication that's automated, right? That sends things out regularly on your behalf and represents you and your business in a positive light. Right? I'm not talking about sending out cookie recipes or the best latte recipe or pumpkin spice for, right? We know what that's like. People will tune you out if you don't give them good things. So we're going to talk a lot about that when we get into smart plans, but they're action plans that are repetitive over time that's leverage in your world that you don't have to be creative all the time. We'll talk about that. Referrals, we just touched on that. Agent to agent referrals, that's what this is. Not, hey, I need a painter or a roofer. This is, I'm going to send a referral to Sarah because Sarah works in a territory that I don't. Sound good?
Yes.
Opportunities, where you're going to track your business. We've all seen whiteboards, or we use whiteboards. Think of this as your digital whiteboard. Whiteboards are messy and they're a pain because I got to take it dirty. I got to erase them. I get stuff on my, this is for the girls. I know I like to wear your white blouses and then you get stuff and right, that happens, right? So think of this as your digital whiteboard and it's a lot easier to manage and manipulate and you can access from anywhere. So that's what opportunities are. Campaigns. Pay-per-click advertising is a big thing in our world, and it should never be your primary area of focus. That should be your sphere first, but there are additional things that you can do. You can advertise an open house on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or on Google. I can advertise and promote things in my business, new listings. We can do pay-per-click advertising through campaigns. I can send out bulk emails through campaigns. So that's campaigns, sending broadcast information out to a whole bunch of people at the same time. There's a place for that in our business, and we're going to learn all about that. Reports, it's a back-end tracking. Where am I at? Did I set my goals? Where am I in production? You can go back in here and take a look at, see where you are. There's reporting. Designs. Has anybody heard of a platform called Canva? So Canva is a great, there's a free and a pro. A great way to create flyers, listing presentations, new marketing material. That's what that is. Well, Designs is the KW version of that. It's all this stuff is free, just so you know, that we can go in. And the cool thing about it is that all the listings are there. Bad thing about Canva is I got to upload photography and all these different things. All the listings, once you're active, right? And whether it's, maybe I'm holding an open house for Ted this week because Ted's listing is now active. When I build an open house flyer or a social media post, Ted's pictures are already going to be inside the platform for me that I don't need to go find. So designs has a lot of great elements. We're going to talk about magazines and listing presentations, social media postings, right? Postcards, emails, branding, marketing, all kinds of great stuff. And I only reference Canva because that's the best third-party platform of likeness that most people understand and say, oh, that's what that is. Creation flyers and postcards and all those things. Listings, when we have all the listings. All the listings under MLS are accessible inside of your platform. We have our own feed, which is great. Consumer is where next Monday we'll talk about websites and your mobile app, right? Your consumer experience and how do you track what activities they're doing so you stay informed about what properties they may be looking at and tracking. So that's the consumer. So those are everything that we're going to cover over the next additional 7 days. All right, across the top, I'll show you just a couple of different things that you need to know about. There's a marketplace where you can go in, and we have third-party integrations. We're an API, so we plug in with other platforms that you may want to utilize in your business. I don't cover a whole lot of that. It's more of advanced stuff because you're not going to be ready for that right away. But you can go in and search around. There's trainings there. There are additional free trainings that I will highlight for you. And there may be other systems that you want to integrate if you've been in business that might plug in. And there may be a fee associated with it charged by them and not by KW. So it's kind of like buying additional apps on your phone. That's what that marketplace is like, going into the Google Play Store. And not everybody's in there. And agents need to understand this too. I talked about how important your information was. KW doesn't just partner with anybody. They're not looking for money, but they are looking for a data pledge. And basically what that data pledge is this. So when you download an app, what typically happens? We need access to your location. We need access to your contacts. We need access to your files. We need access to all your stuff. And what do? Okay, because I want dog ears and sunglasses, right? You're laughing, but you know I'm telling you the truth. You give away everything. Well, KW is trying to protect you here. So they won't partner with people on the back end asking for your data. So just so you know, that's kind of how that works on the back end. All right, now on this dashboard, I do want to show you a couple of things because as you go through Command in the future, what you see on my screen is not necessarily what you're going to see on your screen because it's customizable. The way I look at information isn't always the way that you're going to digest and look at information, which is great until you, at the beginning, it's a little tough because you don't know what you don't know. But over time, you're going to realize, oh, I like to look at things a certain way, and you're going to be able to do that. One of those ways are here. So at the top right-hand side, there's a customize home button. When you click on that, you're going to see on the left-hand side are these applets or widgets. These aren't applets, sorry, these are widgets. It's not really a made-up word. There actually is a thing called a widget, right? Just saying. All right, so on the left-hand side, we got tasks, product updates, goals versus actual designs. So Tasser, what do I have to do today? Well, they surface to your home screen if you want them. Product updates. What changes inside of Command have been released? KWI shares that with you, okay? Goals versus actual. Where am I at? Did I set my goals and am I on par to meet my goals, right? Your PC coaches will typically walk you through setting that up. Designs and updates. Are there new designs available to me to use in marketing, right? So every major holiday or event, things I've never even heard of, our marketing team creates flyers and social media framings that you can post for your business. So they're very active in creating all kinds of new information. So if I say, hey, surface these on my homepage, you'll see what those are without having to go look for them. Database health score. We'll talk a little bit more detail about health score tomorrow, but what does your relationship look like? And do I have enough information from people in my database to actually establish a relationship? Notepads is what it sounds like. Taking notes on my screen that I'm tracking information. I use them in Google, so that's why you don't see it turned on here. And do I have new leads in my database? We'll define leads a little bit better tomorrow. But basically think of it as this. Have I met somebody and had a conversation? That's what I call a contact. Or has somebody connected with me or I got their information where we haven't had a two-way conversation yet? It's a one-way conversation. So I call that a lead. Leads and contacts. It's kind of a rough definition. We'll get more detail tomorrow. Now, when I select these boxes, they show up here on the left. So if I uncheck leads, it disappeared. If I uncheck help or actual, it disappeared. Then when I see them here, I can move them. These 6 dots, whenever you see them online anywhere, it means things are movable. If I drag that up, then this will be the order when I click apply that they show up on my home screen. So you see my tasks are here, my designs are here, my product updates are here, my health score, and nothing else. And you can change it. I realize, oh, you know what? I actually want my leads there, and I actually want product updates at the top. Then I click apply. So you just kind of build this to the way that you like it. So play around with it, see what works for you. Okay. Here's that little notice I said, here's the product updates that KW released. And then if you hit this button, don't ever be afraid to hit buttons in here. You can't break anything. That's how you get informed, right? It's a journey. What's next? We'll say this is long-term. What's next is like what's happening Q2 or Q3 as we're building out the platform. We do our best to kind of keep you guys informed about our improvements or our changes. You know, here are the design elements down here at the bottom. You said there was stuff for tax day, right? You'll see stuff that we had red day. We're going to start getting into the 4th of July. You'll see fireworks types of posts. You name it, it's there. And when we go into designs, well, I'll show you where that's all mapped out. Now, at the top of the screen, you also have this little bell notification. Anytime somebody reached out to you or something happens you need to know about, this little bell goes off and you have this little red dot. There's an activity, somebody's doing something. That will also push through to an app. So I'm going to tell you to download an app called Kelly, K-E-L-L-E. Okay, you can get it in your App Store, your Google Play Store, or your Apple Store. Log into Kelly's the same as your KW user ID and password. Okay, Kelly will buzz you through that app. So think of it as a pager. You know, I'm a little older than most of you, so while I didn't carry them in high school, the cool kids did. Right, those little pagers, and they would go to a payphone and have to call somebody back, right? Think of Kelly as your notification pager. We are redesigning her, so she's not as a fully integrated command mobile app that you might think she is. We're going to release that later this year, but she's great for notifications. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but definitely something you're going to want to download. Kelly, K-E-L-L-E. All right. Now, to the right of that, we got a drop down. You see profile here. This is a layout design thing that I'm not a fan of, but that's okay. They didn't ask me. This profile button is the same profile button that's connected to KW Connect. So this profile is your agent-to-agent profile. This is what other agents in KW will see, right? And you want to make sure you fill that out completely. So if you click on profile here, it'll update your command profile. So you don't have to do it one place. They talk to each other, or connect profile, sorry. Your agent to agent facing bio here. And if I click edit, you'll see that here, social media links, posts, bios. And at the bottom, you have the ability to turn on or off production information if you want to. If you don't have anything, turn it off. It's okay. You'll get there. Don't worry about other agents not seeing that you don't have production. I will tell you this. I have absolutely referred business to brand new agents because they had their profiles complete. Like if I see that you are new and you are digitally enhanced, that you're embracing and engaging on tech, I'm going to reach out to you. I don't care if you sold anything or not. I'm still going to have a conversation with you about your skill sets and what you might be able to do from my referral, but I won't shy away from you. And I'll tell you this, I have shied away from people that have been in the business for a while and don't take care of themselves online, because that speaks volumes. And the scary thing is this, they don't know that they missed out on an opportunity or a referral because there's no way for them to know that they missed out. But I will tell you, I pass over on people, seriously, people that have been in business a long time with incomplete profile information. Ted, I see you shaking your head. Am I right? Your online, a friend of mine calls your digital twin, matters. Whether it's on KW or any of the other free platforms that you can put your profiles out on, take advantage of those and be complete and accurate on all that information. All right. The other thing I want you to know about is your actual marketing profile. We will talk about it just about every single day, but I want you to know where it is because I want you to start building it out. That's going to be one of your homework assignments for today. Settings. No, there's going to be a lot of things here, and we will address those when necessary, okay? on the left-hand side under Connect settings, see that here, is your marketing profile. This is your consumer-facing profile, okay? You'll scroll down, you'll see photograph, you'll see a team logo if you're on a team, all your contact information, your consumer-facing bio, right? I know some people in this call have been stressing a lot about these bios lately. Don't worry about it. It's one of those things that you can keep working on and improving. So it doesn't, you're not looking for perfection here. It's okay. Anything that's a red asterisk, it is what you think it is. It's in priority. You have to put that in there or it won't let you save the page. Market Center logos, right? You should add those and your Market Center contact information. Compliance is the same for everybody. So just type this in. Each office is independently owned and operated. And this saying should be on just about everything you do. Flyers, postcards, business cards, Facebook business pages, websites. That's your compliance disclaimer. Each office independently owned and operated. Don't worry about footer links. We don't have to have any. Your social media posts, right? So what I won't do is teach you how to do a business page in this class. If you don't know how, talk to Market Center Tech Trainer. Talking too fast this morning. And they will talk you through this. But it's very important that you do have a business page. When we get into campaigns, we'll talk more details about that. There's a lot of social media platforms, but at the bare minimum, you gotta have a Facebook page, personal page. And from your personal page, you have to have a business page. You won't be able to connect your personal page. You have to connect the business page. So I'll talk about the importance of that during campaigns. You can Google how to build one of those things and or talk to your Market Center Tech Trainer to make sure you build one out completely and disclose it properly so that you're in compliance with your brokerage, okay?
Hey, David, while we're on the topic of social media,
Sure.
do you think that having an Instagram page is as important as having a Facebook page, or do you think it's kind of a one or the other situation?
I think it's getting very, very close. I would still always default to Facebook first and foremost.
Yeah.
Just there's a generational thing. I know the younger kids will always migrate to something that's new and they love Instagram. Instagram is incredibly valuable and becoming more and more successful from a real estate perspective because you can do different things.
Yeah.
But the older generations, right, still the largest group of growing users on Facebook are 55 and older, which more times than not is going to be a large percent of who you're selling properties to.
Right. So
Right.
do you think it would be worth it to invest your time into both equally at this point if you're starting out new?
Yeah, I would do Facebook first.
Okay.
And then Instagram on a close second. And I would not necessarily spend a whole lot of time on Instagram or YouTube, unless
Okay.
it's a passion of yours, right? But I would
Yeah.
do, and Instagram is owned by Facebook, in case those of you didn't know that. So you'll see when we get into campaigns, there's some integration between the two. And Facebook is great because we can post directly to Facebook from inside of Command. And we have a really strategic relationship with Facebook where we can sync up our consumers' Facebook pages with their profiles here. You'll see a little bit more about that tomorrow. Instagram isn't there yet, but that relationship will continue to develop as well. But we can post directly to Instagram and do advertising from within inside of Command.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. All right. So filling this out and getting this started is important. If you don't have the headshot, you need to get one. Now, online, you kind of need them. I don't put it on my business card. That's just not who I am, right? I always thought that was a little bit like, really? But some people do it. But I will challenge you to do this because I see this a lot. Make sure your picture looks like you, right? Don't use your high school glamour shots. It happens. Like I'd work with people like, I'm like, who's that, your daughter? They're like, no, that's me. I'm like, yeah, when? Right? I'm joking, but I'm not joking, right? So update your pictures, make sure you use something that looks like you. All right. And mine's only 2 years old. I'm probably due for a newer one too. So that happens. You gotta stay up to speed with what you look like so people know who you are when they do come to meet you. Okay. Then once you've built this out, there's a little green toggle here that I want you to turn on. We're going to get into websites later and marketing, but I want this green button turned on and make sure life easier from a syndication standpoint when we kind of tie everything together. With that, we're at 1 hour. Time flies when we're having fun, but I do want to make sure that see if there's any questions that are floating around out there that I didn't address. This is a lot to digest, but like I said, it is a high level approach of where we're starting, and we will get very specific over the next 7 days. Ted, is there anything in chat that I may have missed? I saw there was a couple things going on in there.
So just a very quick question.
Sure, go ahead, Sarah.
So if I have an open house coming up, I
Mhm.
can go to design and create a flyer, like a digital flyer right
Yep.
now?
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
Okay.
And they're, you know, they're formatted. And the cool thing is when you go in there, you'll see it's going to ask you what you're doing. Are you choosing something that you're going to print, or are you building something that you're going to publish online? And the reason it asks you that because it formats things properly.
Okay.
Right? If I'm going to post this to Facebook, then it's going to put it in a Facebook square. If I'm going to print, then it's going to put it in an 8.5 by 11 type of format.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. I'll play.
All right. So with that, you are all free to go. Hope you learned something today, as I hope you learned something each day going forward. And I will see you all again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Does that sound good?
Yeah, David, just to be sure, if we miss the class during these 2 weeks for any reason, the recording will be on the that Facebook page.
It'll be on the YouTube channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the YouTube channel. Okay.
Yeah. The link is here, the YouTube channel. And I make mistakes. I usually have them up by the next day. Sometimes I'm a day or two behind, but they're usually up by the next day.
Okay.
All right. Everybody take care, and thanks for coming on day one.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.